Hello and welcome. Today we saw a massive crash that Bitcoin experienced, and I wanted to bring this emergency update to you because I know a lot of you might have been panicking or might have been in distress. So I want to make this video, make sure that you have all the information at your disposal, sort of hold your hand through this process, and hopefully we can go out of this session with more confidence about the crypto market than we came into it. Okay, so first off, I want to discuss one thing that's very important, and that is fear. Okay, a lot of you might be panicking, a lot of you might be in great distress, and that is because you are essentially experiencing a significant amount of fear in you. Now, the thing with fear is that it usually leads to a skewed version of reality becoming present in your eyes. So when you see this massive crash, the fear that you have is sell, 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 sell. And that's very much logical if you think about it that way. However, the facts of the matter may be different. And because the negativity that's brewing from your fear is skewing your objective reality, then actions you take will become a skewed version also of logic and fact. So taking action from fear leads to what you're trying to avoid. What do I mean by that? Well, if you're trying to avoid greater losses, when you see this massive crash on Bitcoin, when you knew that there are risks involved with this market, and you went into it perhaps knowing that you are taking a risk, then it would be illogical for you to all of a sudden sell. You had already known the risks and you went into the market having established those risks. Okay, so when you act from fear, you will end up where you were trying to avoid. Because all your logic and objective reality is skewed because of the negativity that has been brewing from the fear. So take a moment before you even look at the charts or anything and ask yourself, are you acting out of fear, or is this a logical, responsible choice you're making? And believe me, human brains have a great capacity to rationalize everything. So don't do that. Be objective, be neutral, and non-judgmental of yourself. And know whether or not you were trying to cut corners or not. Because anytime you lose money or you get scammed, and this is something a great mentor of mine actually told me, it is because you were trying to cut some sort of corner. If you were trying to get rich quick and you went into crypto all in and you went into it at 50,000, 60,000, God forbid, now you're in a massive loss. You almost lost 40 to 50% of your money if you sold the position. If you haven't sold the position, then you haven't really lost anything yet. You only lose money until you sell. And so is the opposite also true. Nobody wins until they sell, right? And nobody dies broke taking a profit. So I wanted to establish these few things before we get started into the technical aspects of this. With the technical aspects of it, what we see here is essentially a head and shoulders pattern that has broken downwards. And I will draw that for you good folks out there. The thing with the head and shoulder pattern is it's not very reliable all the time. However, when it does happen, then there's no stopping it, and it goes completely to shit. So as you see, we broken out and under this head and shoulder pattern. And actually, a few days ago, me and my good friend, who's actually my financial advisor, we were discussing this potential for this pattern. He told me that we don't yet know if the head and shoulder is going to go through because it hasn't been validated. Well, now it has been validated in a sort of beautiful, cathartic manner, I must add. And given the massive dump that Bitcoin had all the way to 30,000, okay, and these are, if you remember, in every video, these lines that I put, these are from our previous videos. In every video I reiterate these levels are important. Bitcoin has basically broken under every single one of these levels, and given that now it has retraced back to $40,000, it shows that these levels were massive buying opportunities and people did actually take advantage of them. Now, what you have to realize is when there is so much fear, uncertainty, and doubt in the market, and everyone is selling, that's actually a great opportunity perhaps to buy. And that brings me up to my second point. And before I get to that, again, disclosures. None of this is financial advice. Education, entertainment purposes only. Do your own due diligence. And let's get into the second point. The second point is that our RSI is actually hitting the oversold territory. Now, the thing with RSI is just because it hits oversold territory, it doesn't mean that it's gonna immediately reverse or bounce back. It could also mean that because the selling pressure is so huge, we might actually see follow through with that selling pressure. However, we haven't seen these levels of RSI being hit since almost March of last year. And if you remember, March of last year was when Bitcoin had a flash crash all the way from I would say around 8,000 all the way to 4,000 level, $4,500. And that was when the trend reversed and it kept going higher and higher and higher, and the rest was, of course, history. However, will the same happen this time around? Personally, I'm not sure. We have to see how Bitcoin reacts. It has finally reached its 50-day moving average. And I discussed in a previous video how it has been going on and on for such a long time without testing that level. So now that it has tested it and it's actually broken under it, we must see whether or not it can come back up or if it's going to close below. If it does close below, then I guess a level we should keep an eye on is the $45,000 level before seeing it get rejected from that and then head lower to 30,000 again. However, if it does manage to break above 45,000, I do think we're gonna go to 54 and 56 even, because well, we would then be still in a potential uptrend, or at the very least we will test this major $56,000 area, which is an area of resistance, before heading back lower. And that's also possible. I'd like to bring your attention to actually 2017. Let me bring you there. Back in 2017, it was the first time Bitcoin had a huge run up. And back then, when we popped the bubble, and again, we already said that in 2 videos ago, the Bitcoin bubble has popped, if you remember. I will leave a link below if you want to check that video again. But when Bitcoin actually popped its bubble at 20,000, it went all the way to 11,000. Pretty much the same as now. It basically lost half its value, almost half its value, before retracing back to 16,000. Okay, so if we draw a Fibonacci retracement here from 20,000 to 11,000, right? We see that Bitcoin came back up. It tested its 0.618 level, actually went a little bit even higher than that in its second run up before heading back lower and lower. And that's why I think we might, I'm not saying we will, we might see the $50,000 area again. Let's just draw a Fibonacci. And when we draw this Fibonacci, the 0.618 level lies around the $51,000. And if we are lucky, we might see it go a little bit higher to the 56,000 level. So these are the points that we must take a look at. And remember, you're not losing money until you sell, and you're also not profiting until you sell. And also remember that you only lose money or get scammed when you're trying to cut corners. So go back to the beginning of this video. Listen to what I said about fear and judge your own actions to see, is it out of a place of fear that is there because you try to cut corners, or is it because of fear that, well, of course everything is red and you're fearful, right? Is it a legitimate fear, or is it a fear because you did something you weren't supposed to do and now you might be seeing the consequences for it? So remember these, please remember these and reflect. And if you have liked this video, go ahead and subscribe. I bring you weekly updates pretty much every week. That's why they're weekly. And like the video if you have got something out of it. And I will see you in the next episode. Thank you so much and have a lovely time. Bye for now.